So this is the KhoodeelaarTV television channel broadcasting under the banner of Baby Angel Geronimo Manifesto. Baby Angel Geronimo Manifesto for animals and humans. We have not broadcast this particular channel for the last probably 10 days or more due to ongoing issues, IT issues. And this edition is the first one being broadcast on Sunday, the 3rd of March 2024. And this is the first broadcast making comments on the Rochdale by-election that took place on Thursday, the 29th of February 2024. The column in The Sun on Sunday publishes two pictures from January 2006 when George Galloway was photographed pretending to be a cat in front of the actress Rula Lenska. But the text of the piece in the Sun on Sunday discloses something that we have not commented on until now, which is that during that particular edition of the Channel 4 program called Big Brother House, George Galloway interacted with now deceased evilness called Jimmy Savile. Now we shall be commenting more about George Galloway and his interactions with Jimmy Evil Savile. It is remarkable that the Sun on Sunday has got only one very small topical piece about George Galloway in its edition today, the 3rd of March 2024, which is about the Brexiteer Conservative Member of Parliament David Davis refusing to do a formal thing of introducing George Galloway into the House of Commons tomorrow, Monday, the 4th of March 2024. According to the Sun on Sunday, David Davis is refusing to do that, as a Zionist, because he is saying that George Galloway's so-called Workers' Party official and a former Labour Party Member of Parliament, Chris Williamson, has published anti-Zionist comments. Despite that, Galloway is reported in the Sun on Sunday as expressing extreme praise of David Davis. Now, Galloway only became a member of parliament in the late 1980s. And before that, he was scouring for opportunities to make money. And he got involved in widely published sexual adventures where he boasted of having sex on a holiday with one or more than one person. We shall come to that in due course, not necessarily in this edition, but we shall be doing that after checking the facts and checking the status, accessible status of the facts as accessible on the internet at present. Now, George Galloway only ever became an MP in the 1980s, and he never ever made an issue of opposing racism in the House of Commons, opposing racism in the media, let alone opposing anti-Muslim hatred, incitement, intolerance in the media, in parliament, in the judiciary. He only discovered the Palestinians and the Muslims when he found that mentioning Muslims and the Palestinians carried the potential of bringing electoral benefit for him, which was not testable until he was kicked out of the Labour Party 21 years ago. Was it 21 years ago? 2003, by the then Labour Party leader, Tony Blair. And the first time that George Gate Galloway was able to test the electoral benefits of appearing to ingratiate himself with Muslim electoral demography in a British parliamentary constituency, was on display during May 2005 when he stood as a candidate for election for the constituency of Bethnal Green and Bow. The significance of the choice of Bethnal Green and Bow as a centrally relevant electoral demography was that in the population in Tower Hamlets, Bethnal Green and Bow is a constituency in Tower Hamlets. Identifiable voters who could be identified as Muslims or a Muslim background existed in such a number that if they could be persuaded that he, Galloway, was offering support if and when elected member of parliament to causes, including the causes for an end to the apartheid state of Israel that occupies and had occupied Palestine since the 1940s. The Muslim population in the Bethnal Green and Bow electoral constituency evidently cast their votes in significant numbers against the then sitting Labour Party candidate and Zionist, Una King. So when they refused to vote for Una King, a significant number of their votes went to whoever stood with the claim that they would support the people of Palestine, the cause of liberating Palestine from the Zionist occupation. So this is how the 2005 British general election ended with George Galloway being declared elected for the constituency of Bethnal Green and Bow. But after he became declared an elected member of parliament for Bethnal Green and Bow, until the next election, which took place in May 2010, George Galloway didn't do anything that represented the people of the constituency against racism, against racist hatred, or against the corrupt state of the local council, Tower Hamlets Borough Council. In fact, George Galloway repeatedly exhibited his propensity during those 5 years to abuse the position and indulge in things that didn't actually represent the most acute concerns and the acute issues that affected the lives, well-being and welfare of the people of Bethnal Green and Bow. In the dozens of what is called the early day motions or EDMs that George Galloway was associated with during May 2005 until May 2010. Not one EDM had anything to do with the most urgent, immediate, pressing concerns and needs felt by the voters, the constituents of Bethnal Green and Bow. George Galloway initially had, during the month of May 2005, a Pakistan-linked Muslim activist called Asad Rahman, who accompanied George Galloway to the USA during the hyper propaganda mission showing George Galloway as a member of parliament. And this one was linked with his confrontation with an American right-wing senator. After Galloway returned to the United Kingdom, eventually Asad Rahman disappeared from the side of George Galloway, whose main associates were all racists, all non-Muslims, and Galloway never did anything to address the issues of anti-Muslim discrimination, anti-Muslim racism, or issues to do with the discrimination felt by the experienced by the people of Muslim backgrounds in housing, in employment, and in general public walk of life. George Galloway didn't ever explain why he should not be condemned as a liar when he supported the gang of criminals that actually initiated the petition for foisting an executive elected mayor on the people of Tower Hamlets. Because in April 2006, a month before the 2006 election, council election, Galloway had boasted that in 30 years of politics, of life, political life, he had never come across a local council as corrupt as Tower Hamlets Council. So it was very odd and significant that, having said that on the record, in April 2006, Galloway then proceeded to be party to the petition campaign for foisting the corrupt post of elected executive mayor on the people of Tower Hamlets. In February 2010, I led a demonstration outside the Brady Centre in Hanbury Street off Brick Lane, campaigning against the bid being supported by George Galloway, Ken Livingston, Keith Sleaze Vaz, for foisting the corrupt elected mayor post on Tower Hamlets. People who took part in the demonstration, which I led in February 2010, included some who were willing to physically assault George Galloway, but I discouraged them. The same group of people would have physically confronted Ken Livingston, who too joined the platform calling for the corrupt post of elected mayor to be foisted. Galloway wanted anti-mayor protesters that I was leading. I was not ever going to give him the microphone, but he, for some stupid reason, expected me to give him the opportunity. That showed his stupidity and his lack of understanding of the depth of feelings against corruption that I had been fighting for decades. Now, George Galloway is a racist and he is a parasite, a political parasite, and in the future, reflections that will be based on the evidence of his behavior. I am absolutely confident that George Galloway would be found to be operating as an informer. Galloway has been a paid propagandist for various regimes, and that is his main business. He's a parasite who does the parasiting business by abusing the post of being a member of parliament. So we shall be talking about George Galloway because of the fact that he has been to stage this so-called victory. We said that Keir Starmer was the political martyr of the Labour Party. 2 years at least. Others are beginning to realize that Starmer is an idiot. They don't say he is a political martyr of the Labour Party, but they do concede now that he is a politically unfit for purpose and should not be the leader of the Labour Party. We shall be talking more about this and other topics in due course. We are ending this one at just after 24 minutes at 08:48 hours GMT on Sunday the 3rd of March 2024.